What is up, world? This is Kimberly and Connor Tracy over here at Big Red SEO. How are you in 2020? Connor, how are you in 2020?
I'm good.
Are you good? Are you good?
I think so.
Yeah, cool. Well, hey, we're tuning in. So as you can see in the description, I kind of woke up pretty early this morning, and then I actually took a woo-saw nap again and got a download. And I came to Connor and I was like, hey, look, I know we have a structure, but January has 5 weeks in it, and our structure is actually created for 4 weeks. So I'm flipping the script on this episode, and I'm coming at you guys with a little bit more of a down-to-earth conversation that happens in the marketing world, as well as some tips and tools on how we opted to change SEO in 2019. Hey, Loveline, thanks for tuning in.
Hello.
Okay, so to start, really what happens that we see, whether it's a small business, medium, large, whether it's somebody that's getting ready to launch, or they've been doing it for a while, there's this area where there is a shit ton of information out there, guys. Like a plethora of you need to do this and you need to do this.
Well, there's 20 years of information.
And you need to do this and you need to do this and you need to do this. And if you've kind of been in our world for a while, we're not here to trash talk or tell people what does not work. What I always say, or my golden rule, is figure out what actually is fun for you and start to implement that. Now, the caveat with all of that is when you're learning something new, sometimes it's never going to be fun, right? Like whether you're trying to learn like an SEO process or keyword research, this is the world that we're in, right? It cannot be fun and comfortable in knowing that you may not actually have the answers. That I remember when we launched, I didn't know what SEO was. And then when Connor explained it, I was like, crap, I use SEO every day and I didn't know what it was, right?
Right.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you were talking about just the aspect of things. There was a quote that I saw yesterday on my Facebook feed, and it said, be brave enough to suck at it, or something like that. Yeah. It was something like that was the phrasing on it. But it was basically, take that jump. And that's essentially what you did, know, when we launched this business. I mean, I knew the SEO background stuff. I've been doing it for a number of years. Yeah. But it was all new to Kim. So
yeah. And I think the other part too, right? So there's a lot of information out there. You guys have probably already felt it with the new year. Like everybody's pushed to let's close 2019 with a shebang and get all the things done. And then, oh, by the way, within less than 12 hours, let's start the new year. And so it's like gasoline, fuel, right? Or we have actually seen the other dynamic where businesses decide to check out right now, which my whole thing is, again, even when it comes to marketing, the key area of keeping your engine going is to have structure and implement it, right? To test what works, what doesn't work, kind of create it to where you don't even have to think about it. I always think of the book by Darren Hardy, Compound Effect. So when I read that book, I took it from the personal world of how that works as well as business world. And it's the thought of you have a habitual habit of doing the tasks so consistent that it actually doesn't feel overwhelming. And then eventually the compound effect happens to where it becomes a part of your everyday practice, right? So when we implement SEO, that's really how we've built our brand, as we figure out what the tasks are. We figure out what we need to do. And then we do them, and we do them consistently, especially for clients, right? So whether it's your clientele's in social media and Facebook and posting consistently, right? Not just posting to post and not just creating blog content or content to create it, right, but actually infusing what is the intention and the purpose behind it? Like, why are you stepping forward and what is it that you want to share? We communicate with a lot of people all the time, and I hear the word all the time, I don't take action because I get very overwhelmed, or I feel overwhelmed because I don't know what to do and I don't know how to do it. Reality is, guys, I'm going to call bullshit on that, right? Because if you do have a brand and you're like, granted, if you're new in an industry, I get it. Like, I totally get it. But the thing is like, if you launched and you started a dream and you started a business and you're creating a product, you actually know what you want, right? It's just about the learning the specific tool or I would say we flipped the script on SEO and we built our own, here's the rules and this is what we're doing. We went totally against the stream of what everybody else was doing. It's one of the reasons why we created these Facebook Lives, right? And we've been consistent with it almost every single week for, what is this episode today?
87, I think this is.
87 episodes, right? I was like...
Now, we have had a couple of weeks off here and there.
Here and there. Or you do one, or I do one,
right.
or we're traveling. But the thought process, and we can come to you guys with the whole area of what we wanted was we wanted to be able to connect with our tribe or people that were looking to be part of our tribe. But most importantly, we wanted to be the difference in the SEO world, meaning we wanted to be able to articulate and explain things in small little bits and pieces or huge enchiladas if it's the Google updates that Connor does, right? But we wanted to share this material and share this data because a lot of businesses don't do SEO, not because they don't know it, but it's because they feel like it's super overwhelming and they don't know where to start.
Yeah, there's some restrictions in there. So you had mentioned earlier just doing something and being in the habit of it. And I think the word is called rote. Or OTE. I'll have to double check that, but essentially it's doing something because it's always been done that particular way. Yeah. And when we look at SEO, there's certain tasks that are done on a website and they've always been done that way. You look back 15, 18 years ago, they were done this particular way. Things have changed today with a lot of that kind of stuff, but people still implement the old things.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the SEO with regards to the new businesses or wanting to do SEO for a business.
Right. You just saw what I saw. Yeah, it's cool.
What did you say?
No, go ahead.
I missed it. What did you say?
No, go on.
No, I'm curious.
No, carry on. Carry on.
Kim has something on her computer.
Oh, it's so good.
Anyway. But now you see, now I'm off track altogether. Cool. But the way the SEO is working today, so especially with business owners that are everything, you are the dreamer, you are the creator, you are the implementer, you're the single man shop or 2-person shop or whatnot. And then when it comes to SEO, there's parts where you're either doing SEO or you're avoiding SEO completely. And that's the part that we're seeing a lot of in the last year or so.
Right.
You know what needs to get done, but you just don't implement it. And that's it. That's an issue.
And if we could tell you how many times somebody has been like, I want to do DIY, and then it gets within the 6 or 8 week time frame and it slows down and they think, oh, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I'll catch up. Or then it goes to 3 to 4 months or 6 months and they say, yes, I've got patience. And then at the end of the day, they really don't have patience, right? There's like this area where you have to have the structure and you have to have a discipline, right? We've seen multiple different people implement any different types of marketing strategies. But the thing is you got to give it a shot before you even start, right? So like if you're not in it for the long game and willing to actually test. So this is how typical people test. They jump in and they do it. And then they don't see likes or they don't see comments or they're not like getting a lot of views on videos. They step back and they're like, all right, I'm done. I'm not doing it. Right?
Guilty.
Lovely. And I love you so much.
Loveline said guilty too. All right. I am too.
Yeah.
If I was to base our videos that we do here on Facebook and then I put them over onto YouTube, but they don't get hundreds of views or they don't get thousands of views.
Right.
And if I was to base the performance of what we're doing, if I was to base it based on those numbers, I would have turned everything off because it's not working. But it is working in a different platform and I'm not seeing that.
And so here's the deal, right? So here's the reality. And again, we're coming to you guys raw, vulnerable. Here's the review of 2020. That's not even there yet. 2019. But here's the deal. While we may not get a lot of YouTube clicks and likes and views or whatever your scenario was, right? I remember sitting across from a coffee shop from a gentleman that I wanted to do business with so bad. And I'm not just saying because I wanted a big fat check. This guy was infectious with what he was doing and where he was going. His passion, it was before I truly understood and knew cosmically who my ideal client was.
Was this 8 years ago? 7 years ago?
Close to it. You know who I'm talking about.
All right. Now I do.
I would have coffee with this guy and literally pick his brain, because inside of me, I had the same but different like urge to want to step forward, but I was hiding, right?
Right.
Which happens. It's okay. But there was something about this guy, right? And I remember it was like a beautiful Sunday. I had my coffee. I was blissed out of my mind. I mean, it looked like probably I smoked a shit ton of weed, but I didn't, because I was like, we were synced and we were having conversations, and the conversations were the next level, right? He wasn't in the marketing world, but he knew the language, right? And he also knew and understand and valued our opinion. Right. And then he leans forward and he says, so I hear you're doing these different videos on Facebook. And this was before we did the weekly recap. And he was like, do you have any plan to do it on YouTube? Because I don't do social media. And I was like, shit, we heard do YouTube, but we never considered that some of our ideal market might be in Facebook. Other ones might be in YouTube. Mm-hmm. Of course, we heard through the process, do YouTube. It's part of the largest search engine. And there's like this language. I'm not saying any of that's wrong and it's not valid. However, what we did was we made the assumption that all of our ideal client was in Facebook. And the reality was I was sitting across the very first person that I wanted as an ideal client. And we were nowhere on social media.
Right. And that's one of the things is that, when you do SEO, when you do any marketing for any business, you have to look at the numbers. You have to look at the return on investment. You have to look at what's actually producing and what's not. Yeah. And while our view numbers are really low
on YouTube,
they're low. They're low in my standards. They're low for what they are, but we get a higher conversion out of the people who do watch that. Yep. And then you come onto Facebook, and we have hundreds of views every week. We haven't quite hit 1,000, so we're working on that. But we'll have hundreds of views within the course of the week, and views that are live and so forth. Yeah. But if you concentrate only on the numbers of this worked and this didn't, then you're missing the entire picture. There's a quote, and I don't remember who it was who did it. Out the quotes. I know. It wasn't Einstein, but I know it's attributed a lot in the memes on Facebook. But it was basically the judgment of something, and to judge how smart something is. Yeah. Well, if the judgment is to climb a tree, and you're looking at a fish, and a fish can't climb a tree, then that's a stupid animal.
You actually think the fish is stupid.
Yeah, that's a stupid animal. Yeah. Everybody can climb a tree. But you've removed something out of the environment, and you're judging it in a totally different way. And I don't remember the whole quote, and I botched the whole thing.
Gunnar totally went into a different area,
and I don't care because this is what we do,
right? So and then on the other side, guys, right? So on Facebook, like people may not engage a whole lot during the Facebook Lives. We do get a lot of views now, but at the very beginning, we didn't know, is it working? Is it not working? We just knew, again, to come back to the subject, we just knew we wanted to change the SEO within our realm, within our universe. We wanted to step forward and provide different value and information. Yeah, we could get sales out of it, but that's not the true reason why we started it, right? Like, one, it's fun. Two, even though this guy gets really like, what are we going to talk about today? And he gets super stressed out. There's like a part of me that I like kind of look over and I wink and I calm him down. And it's fun for us. It's fun for us to have conversations.
Starting on Tuesday, I go through the list of, what the fuck am I going to talk about? And then,
it's like a system, right?
A few months ago, we created the calendar, so we know what's coming up, each week, as to what's going to be talked about on what particular week, in terms of the concept or the topic area. Yeah. And then now, instead of Tuesday, on Wednesday, it's going to be, what the fuck am I going to talk about for this topic? Yeah. So I still run through those motions. But the thing is that if you don't do it, if you don't take the recordings, if you don't do this part of the social media end of things, then you're missing an entire chunk. And that goes with any business. We've got a buddy of ours who, for years, you see the bus benches and you see the advertising on that, and it's always fairly inexpensive, and it's very cheap to do for lack of a better word.
I always with bus benches, we thought about doing it, side note. And I was like, man, if somebody drew a mustache on my face, I think I would be upset. So that stopped my whole bunch. It wasn't the fact of having somebody's butt on my face or somebody sitting on me. It was the fact that somebody's going to put a mustache on my face, right? Because I would put a mustache on my face.
People do that anymore?
I don't know, but I would if I saw my own self and here reflecting inward, I would do it, right? And I'm like, I can't do it because then it would be tempting because I would do it so I could be the first.
Kim the Tagger.
I'm just saying,
But anyway, so it was an industry that had never done bus benches before.
Yeah.
It's just not done. You see it for real estate people, and you see it for insurance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in this particular field, it's never, we've never seen it, and I couldn't find anything online that anybody's ever used bus benches for it. And he did it, and he's killing it. The return on investment was there. So it's really a matter of thinking outside the box.
Right.
And we've gone through this years ago. We worked with somebody and they said, if you really want to think completely outside, who's not done anything. Do you remember
this? Oh, shit. Hold on. I'm going to cut cords on this one. Carry on.
Better put your water down.
This was a coach.
This was a
business coach, y'all, for me.
Which we fired.
We finished the contract.
Yes, and did not renew promptly. But one of the ideas that were brought back to us in terms of advertising was, you could do banners on airplanes, and skywriting was another one. The
skywriting was number one. It was actually the number one thing they said was skywriting. And it was clear. It could work. I'm not saying it's not going to.
It is thinking out of the box.
It is.
How's that going to promote an SEO and web design business?
Well, here's the deal, though, for skywriting, right? Is think about this. And at this time, we were deciding, we were in the SEO. We were not as vulnerable and authentic, right? We were kind of trying to decide, do we want to be part of this? I knew I wanted SEO to be different. And
we also didn't want to offend people with our opinions.
Oh, gosh. We were, I was like, no, straight and narrow corporate world. But no, so I remember that proposal being do skywriting. And it was this was before I used the word intuition. It was the immediate hit that the person that we were working with did not get our business. Not only do they not do technology, which there's nothing wrong with that. I think you can learn a lot of stuff from people that do or know or don't know. But it was clear that there was two different areas, but then it was also clear that we just got to the point where they couldn't serve us anymore. There was nothing else for them to give. So what they did was pull the rabbit out of the hat to say, you should do skywriting. And when I think about it, guys, skywriting could work depending on your industry, but people when they're doing SEO are on their phones.
Yeah.
Searching keywords for stuff, right?
The list that we were given, it was about 50 different things that you could do for marketing. And these were the particular ones that were highlighted, including buying a hot air balloon with our logo on it and then using that at festivals. And then that would generate traffic. I'm sorry, it's not in our business. I don't believe. Now, maybe we should do it just to prove that it wouldn't work.
I think if we did it, what we should do, we should just do it for client appreciation. It's like the SEO tribe. But anyway, back to what we're at, right, guys? So here's the deal. Again, you get to decide how you want your business to be presented. One rule that I would say, if you're doing any form of marketing, you decide what you want to do. If you find a way to make it fun, it's going to go a lot further and a lot faster. Mm-hmm. You will have more fuel and you'll gain more momentum than that, I got to do these things, or I'm not looking forward to these things. I think if you're running a business and you're just expecting to have business at your door for you not doing one damn thing in order to gain it or earn it, or you're not offering some form of value, if you're just selling on your Facebook page and you're not having your personality step forward and sharing behind the journey, you're missing the ball, right? I have this teaching from one of my teachers and mentors that sales is spiritual. And I truly, truly, truly 100% believe that. Whenever I actually adapted that, that's when things started to sink in and click. And that's where I stopped being scared, if that makes sense. I stopped worrying so much. What are people going to think? And instead it was more turning to my intellect to say, what is it not that what people want to know? What is it that they need to know? What is it that they should know? And what is the stuff that people are not talking about that they need to crack open and actually get into. And that's where the core of the majority of our business and our data and our knowledge comes from that we share, right? So for you, from a business perspective, you have to decide, what is it that you want to share with people? What is it that you need people to know? You see, I'm really intense. I'm like, need them to know. But then also you could say the should, but what should people know, right? Like, that's the key hint in all of this area. Then you create, what is your structure? What is your platform? What are you doing it? Fun will take the momentum further. Fun removes the overwhelm, because guess what, guys? You get to play like a kid. If the shit doesn't work, you look at it and be like, oh, well, I can't tell you how many times I had to come to this guy and be like, hey, I know we invested this time and this money and these hours. What can I tell you? It was a failure, right? It really wasn't a failure, because we learned, we adapted, we changed. We said, that's not it, but that's it, right?
Right.
But most importantly, we had fun figuring it out. Like, I don't think that there's one person out there that knows everything, because in reality, you should be testing all the time. So from an SEO perspective, education is really important. We're constantly learning and pulling data and testing and bringing you guys the bare bones. We remove the bullshit out of the process to come to you to be like, hey, we realize you guys have a limited amount of time within a day. The reality is 24 hours, right? So we break it down and we serve it and we give it to you guys. But the thing is...
And in that regards, we ask for 2% of your day on a Friday.
Yeah.
So 1% is 15 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. The reality is, though, guys, is that you have to decide what is it that you want to do and how do you want to do it. You have to commit to no longer being overwhelmed. Here's what I do with my coaching clients. I have them put blinders on, right? It's like, think about this. Think about your marketing world like this. What is it you want to do? What is it that people need to know? What is it they should know? What is it that people aren't talking about? That's going to set you completely different, right?
Right.
And then you go and you start implementing it, and you take and you put blinders on and you stay away from all the other stuff. If you go on Facebook now or anything right now, people are bombarded. Do these 7 tips for business. Do these 5 things for 2020 new vision. Do these It can get to the part where, of course, the word overwhelm feels like it's going to pull you apart, right? The thing is like, for you, discover what you want to share, lay it all out, figure out reality in your business. If you are, like you said before, the dreamer, the creator, the doer, the executor, you're doing all these things. In reality, how much time do you have to implement consistently your marketing?
Right. And that requires then at that point to actually really think smartly on what it is you're implementing.
Yeah. Yeah, so it requires you, like, if you've got 10 strategies, okay, cool, pick one.
Pick one and stick with it for X amount of time. Whatever that time is, you have to give it long enough. I mean, you could run TV commercials and you run a TV commercial for 1 week and then say, I didn't get anything out of it. Well, maybe 1 week wasn't long enough. You run... we do pay-per-click stuff. So you deal with Google Ads, and you run it for a week. Well, maybe the weather was really nice that week and nobody needed your particular service.
Right.
It wasn't a doom and gloom day, so they weren't online looking at board games. Yeah. Okay. So
this shit happens, guys. Like, he doesn't just pull it out just to say it.
Yeah, there are different times for different kinds of marketing, and weather scenarios play a big part into it too, as does the school. Yeah. So if kids are in school, then there's different things people are searching for. If the Huskers are playing and they win, there's different searches than if the Huskers played and they lost. Right. There's completely different searches online. So all that kind of stuff requires testing, or it does require investment. It does require time. Mm-hmm. But it's all stuff you can do. You just have to put it together and make it happen.
And the other side of it all, thank you everybody that's joining in and tuning in, whether live or replay, right? Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. The other reality too, guys, is you have to have your mindset figured out. I said this, like, I think when we very first started, but I say it to clients in front of them and prospects all the time. If you are not tracking your information, if you are not, let me clear my throat for a second because it's a truth bomb. If you're not tracking your information, if it's not written down, if there is no numbers, and I come to you and I say, hey, how's business going? More times than not, guys, I can't tell you how many times I've been, fuck, business is shit, man. Like, I don't have any business. The bank account's negative. Yeah. I haven't got referrals or communications in so long. It's horribly bad, right? Then they start tracking. Volume. And it went really high. Then they start tracking, and then they realize they actually have business coming in. They actually have stuff flowing. It's all in their mindset. They're either exhausted or they're not disciplined and actually holding themselves accountable. They're not operating from $30,000 a month or $50,000 a month or $10,000 a month. They're actually operating at $500 a month. And what I mean by this, guys, is when we own a business and we're creating products or services, anything in general, right? But I'm going to talk to those that I know that like own it. They're in it. They're the creator, the doer, the executor, the implementer. They're in it, right? You are your business. What that means is you should take your name, write it out, print it out, whatever. Example, KimberlyTracy.inc. Yeah, I do have Big Red SEO. And I run and I operate Big Red SEO. And Big Red SEO is very successful. But if this company, if this corporation is not running and operating and doesn't have a clear mindset, it doesn't have this is what I want. This is what people need to know. This is what they should know. This is what people are not talking about. And I need to go and do it. And it's less of, oh, I feel like doing it today, or I don't feel like doing it today, or I didn't get any likes on Facebook, so I'm kind of not going to post on Facebook. My pits sweat every time I do a Facebook Live, so I'm not going to do a Facebook Live, right? Mm-hmm. At that point, the mindset's not there. It's not there, right? And then how can you expect your business to grow? How can you expect to lean in and get uncomfortable and expand and actually attract your ideal clients when you're not running your actual corporation, your Inc., your name at the highest capacity? Mm-hmm. So I kind of went a little cosmic in truth telling, and I dipped a little bit into coaching. But here's what I can tell you is, when we work with web design clients or consulting SEO clients or monthly SEO clients, if you're not tracking your data, how many leads do you have? How many conversions? What are your numbers? What are you pulling in? It's great to know what would you like to create, right? I have some friction with that because then I'm like, well, if I only wanted to create 5,000 and I hit 5,000, am I going to stop? A lot of people stop, right?
Guilty.
A lot of people stopped, but that's a whole separate subject. We'll put that in a ball for a different time of truth. But the reality is that if you don't track it, you're going to go off of your emotions, and your emotions and your feelings are all going to be debated on, did you get up when your alarm went off because you had a code agreement with yourself to get up at an alarm, but you didn't? So therefore you slept in, and then you kind of ate shit food for the day. Not to say that shit food's a bad thing. I have cheat days. But you kind of didn't really feed yourself. You didn't give yourself the fuel that you needed. And then you knew you had to make 10 phone calls today to get some business in. But you're like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm not going to do it. Like, I don't want to do those things, right? Before you know it, you've broken 7 different agreements with yourself, and your corporation is in the negative. What is that? Black? Red? I don't know. You're in the red. So therefore, if you're not tracking the data to be like, hey, I just pulled in a big check, or I just pulled in a big project. How cool is this? Okay, what's next, right? If you're not actually taking care of yourself and your business, how are all your clients going to be able to rely on you? Mm-hmm. How are they going to be able to know that you're actually there for the right reasons and stepping in as an industry leader, right?
Yeah, so since we've taken this conversation completely
I
off
told
track,
you, I'm flipping the script, man.
Because we've gone a completely different direction. If your clients are following you on your personal Facebook and following you on your business page, and those two personalities not only completely clash, but completely contradict each other,
yep, you've
got a problem. You've got to solve it. I've seen a number of people where their personal stuff that they put onto their personal page,
right,
that business sucks, that I can't get this, I'm thinking about quitting, I'm going to close up my shop because it's not working. And then 2 hours later, there's a posting on their business page about how awesome everything is and New Year's resolution and blah, blah, fucking blah. But that doesn't work. People will see through that. So pick a lane and stick in it. It annoys me. So
I mean, it happens though. It happens all the time, right? So like the reality is, well, here's the other thing. If you want to talk Facebook, If you're hiding your personal Facebook page and you own your own business, you are not doing your business justice. I can't tell you how many times I've had clients and or prospects that refuse to do business with people because they hide their profile. And if they can't go and check out who the person is, especially if it's intuition or if it's guidance or if it's they're consulting or they're offering a service, if people can't actually learn about that person to see how do they represent themselves, they're walking away. They lose business, right? The other area is on your social media. If you have it hidden, I would recommend lifting that. The other reason for that is when you put in your about, you need to make sure that your company is actually in your about and you are as the owner or the creator. I can't tell you how many businesses don't do that either, right?
Yeah, be proud that you're
And I'm like,
risking it
why
all.
would you not tag your business in it and step in? You own this business, right? Lift the privacy. I get it. People can get access to everything. Like, yeah, I can't, I won't even go there, right?
But people can get access to everything, yes.
Yeah.
But if you put it online, that's your fault for putting it online.
So the thing is, but I think where I'm coming from is that if you kink the hose and you hide from one part, right, you're actually not showing who you are. Step in and show. That might cause you to have to not have a pity party online, right? That might cause you to reduce your drama or decide, is that really worth sharing or not? It's like one of those, hey, there was a quote that said, is it true? Is it necessary? There's some kind of thing of like filter through these 3 questions to decide you share it or not.
Right.
I just, you are always presenting, again, you are your Inc. You are your corporation. You have a logo. The logo, the name of your company is created from you, right? But at the end of the day, you are your business. And so however you represent yourself in marketing, however you represent yourself in actually communicating and doing an elevator pitch or at a grocery store, even if it is your day off, you are representing your business, right? If you're at a casual whatever and you're like, gosh, I just don't even want to talk about business right now. Shame on you. Shame on you. I get wanting to separate and have a good time, but there's something kink that you're not doing something right if there's, it always feels like you're working, right?
Yeah, a lot of people in the last probably 2 or 3 years, there's been a lot more books about how to separate life from business and how to keep them, how to keep your business and your personal. But if you're an entrepreneur, if you are doing everything yourself and on your own or 1 or 2 people or so forth, be that brand. There's nothing wrong with it. But like I said, if you put it onto social media, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or whatever, just be aware that it does flow over from one to another.
Right.
And all of that will tie in with your SEO for your company overview as a whole.
Right.
LinkedIn, I'm not a fan of LinkedIn just because, all I get are job offers from people wanting me to go work somewhere else.
It's either job offers or they want to connect to get you into their circle. LinkedIn's an interesting thing.
Yeah, but it does work for some industries. So if that's your jam, go ahead and do that. But be aware of what you put on the different social media platforms. They can be picked up inside of Google, and they will influence either positively or negatively your overall SEO with your website and your company name. So.
Yeah. So really quickly to wrap up, guys, here's another thing that I want to talk about really quick. It has to do with SEO.
Lakeisha's here.
Hey, you.
How you doing?
Here's the other thing I want to talk about. There's going to be times whenever you're doing your marketing or you're implementing different stuff in your business where you're going to have to create some space and just let it integrate and let it do. Right? So what happens is I actually had this client that they just kept wanting data. They kept wanting information, knowledge, tons of knowledge, give me. And what they actually didn't realize is they actually paralyzed themselves in the fact that they had so much data and so many ideas and so many strategies that they didn't know where to take action. Right? So again, pick one thing, stick with it for a while, maybe 2, figure out how much time do you have within your week, your day, whatever it is, your life. Stretch yourself a little bit more than what you normally would, right? But then there's going to come this time where whenever the engine's going and you're doing and everything's consistent and you've implemented and you reviewed and you test, you A/B tested and then you did again, there's going to be this time where you're going to have to like just take a moment and take a breath. There's nothing wrong with this, right? Some people do it on vacations once a year as a business. This gal, once a quarter, goes off and woo-saws somewhere, right? And the one that knows where she's at is this guy over here. And that's pretty much it. And the reason why I do this, guys, is I run this business. I coach and I mentor, right? I'm running my corporation, my person. And I sometimes need space and I need quiet, or I just need... I just need to implement in more what I'm doing, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of jumping in. It's so easy to want to jump into the next thing. But I think that it's important to say you need just a little bit of space to figure it out, but then don't hide, meaning don't take so much space that you get out of the habit in the discipline. Again, if you have the structure running, it's already going to be running. Even if you take space, it's going to be doing. I think the newest thing...
There's taking space and then taking time off.
Yeah. There was this newest thing that you found out with the Google My Business now allows Hootsuite in. Was that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So if you're doing social media, it's very common for a lot of people not to have tons of time. So they'll go into automation software. At one point, it was frowned upon to do automation. However, it's kind of creeping itself back in and it's allowed. And Google My Business is now adding that functionality in. The thing is if
as long as you have less than 10 locations.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
so the thing is that if you decide to do the automation, cool, use the software. But don't go autopilot on your business, right? So what I mean by that is have the intention. What is the intention behind it? Don't just put information out there to put information. Don't just sell your products constantly and consistently. At that point, it's like you're hitting the 2x4 over the head all the time. Mm-hmm. And I cannot tell you how many times people will lose likes and lose followers if they're constantly just selling. You have to provide who are you? What's the behind the scenes? What are the reviews that other people are liking? Again, figure out what strategy you want to implement first and then take off and run with it.
And don't be afraid to share what the competition is sharing.
Right.
Not just something like it, but actually share what they're doing.
I get in the reality, we have the word competition, and I get reality. I'm in an industry that has the abbreviation SEO. I get that, right? There's not another Kim and Connor. So at this point, I don't think, well, I mean, that'd be kind of cool. I don't think at this point we have competition. Yes, on paper, you could say this is competition. But when somebody picks up the phone and calls us and say, hey, I talked to 3 other people in this world. I want to get some pricing. It just happened last week. And they were just gathering information. I said, you know what, guys, we actually don't operate our business that way. Every client that we work with, it winds up being a custom project. We want to learn their industry. We want to become the extension of their marketing team. We want it to be long-term in whatever capacity that is, consulting, training, we're in it, we're doing it. We're not here to just give bids and RFPs, right? And the gal literally said, thank you so much for the transparency, right? Yeah. And I just said, good luck on your journey. I'm super happy that you're gathering this information for your client. There's not a lot of people that would do that. But at the end of the day, whenever you get into that seat where it's not scarcity and the fact you have all this competition, there's so many other people out there. Yeah, they might be in the same industry, but there's not another you. There's not another Kimberly Tracy Inc., right? Or Connor Tracy Inc. Again, we have the logo. We represent Big Red SEO. This is what we do, but really we are our company.
Mm-hmm. So earlier you were talking about somebody gathering lots of information and then getting overwhelmed with the results. And it was something that we recognized probably 5 years ago. You know, when I run my SEO reports or I run a website audit and I end up with 20-something pages of data that I use then to determine what's going to happen next or what direction things would go. Well, normally I can't just hand that data directly to a customer.
Right.
And what I found a few years ago, when we were doing our monthly reviews and stuff like that with different places, I came up with a C-level report.
Yeah.
You know, so it was basically 2 pages. It had your overview information, what's going on, what happened last month, and then what it is you're going to implement this month. That's it. So when me and Kim sit down then to talk about the strategy or what's going on with regard to the website.
Usually food's involved, y'all.
there's always, look at me, there's always food involved.
Usually me. I'm like, if you want to talk to me about that data stuff, I need food.
But the report that she gets is usually a 2-page report, or maybe even just a 1-page of these are the things we want to do, or that I want us to do.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the implementing of the SEO, then that's the process that has to happen.
Right.
So gathering all this data, gathering all the statistics, and reviewing all the different things, that's wonderful if you want to waste time and just sit there and look at reports.
Yeah.
But unless you're actually taking action with the information that you're given, looking at the reports doesn't do anything.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons why I don't do, like keyword tracking, and we look at a keyword every day as to did it move up or did it down, did it go down?
Yeah.
That is, it's all based now on user habits and their own searches. So tracking every single day doesn't do anything. Even tracking every week doesn't do it. Normally, the way the reports are done now from our end is that we look at 30 days and then what's the average within that, and then that's where the number should be, because you will go up and down depending on what's actually happening.
It happens all the time. Like, you got to take into consideration what is the time of the year, what are the seasons. Don't get too attached to the time of the year. I have time and time again coaching people. They come to me and say, oh, this is my dead season. I'm not going to have business. Right. I have helped them grow their business 50 to 75% during a dead season. Yep. Again, you are the representation of your company. If you are tuning in, go back and watch the beginning of it. It comes down to your mindset. If you feel like you're not going to be busy within a certain time frame, you're not going to be busy during that time frame. You're going to check out, and you're not going to do your business or your clients or your tribe justice.
There's a group here in town that it's a marketing kind of group, strategy group, or a gathering or whatnot. But they put out an announcement that as of October of last year, so 2019, last year, but basically they weren't going to have any meetings between October and March. And they met every month to review what's going on. It's kind of like an accountability group to an extent, but it was also doing some marketing stuff. But to shut their business down for essentially 5 or 6 months because people normally don't show up at those meetings.
Yeah.
Well, great. So 40 people didn't show up at the meeting and only 8 people did. But those 8 people were committed to actually wanting to get more information.
Yep.
And essentially you just close the door on everybody. That hurts on an overall thing. So
every time.
Reviewing or saying when something's busy, when you're always busy this particular time of year, or you're always slow this kind of year. We talk about it ourselves. It used to be many years ago, Christmas was a little bit slow for us. Now it's always, I want to get all this done before the end of the year, or it's, hey, it's the new year, I need all this stuff done. So
again, like they contribute to the mindset, right? So if we check out, right, and we did that for a while, we're like, oh gosh, like we got to suffer, we got to bust through this, right? We got to hold on for another 30 days. But we don't give up in December. November and December, that's whenever we hit our gas on the fuel, right? We do take care of ourselves. So here's the deal. A lot of people don't know when we go on vacation or we take a day off. People don't need to know your shit. They don't need to know what you're doing and how you're doing it. Yes, you have office hours. Hopefully you're attached to your cell phone. Hopefully you're willing to take a phone call here and there. I can't tell you how many times we've been at dinner and then Connor's off like getting a sale of 5 figures while he's eating a cheeseburger and fries, right?
And that burger ended up being cold.
But the thing is,
if Ryan is watching, thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
But the thing is like you, there might be some times where you have to bob and weave, right? There might be other times where you set clear boundaries to say, no, I'm not doing this. But at the end of the day, you are your business. So just step in and actually do and get consistent and figure out what ways you need to instill discipline and actually do it, if that makes sense. So the reason why I flipped this script, y'all, guys, I have been sitting on something for quite some time. Actually,
I know it?
A whole entire year. And I built a lot of other businesses, and I did a lot of different coaching for a lot of clients as well as mentoring. And 2019 by far was brilliantly amazing. Best year that we've had so far. I am launching a mastermind group called Scattered to Aligned. I want to take businesses that are super passionate, more intuitive driven than just getting a profit to get a profit to get a profit. Nothing wrong with profit. I love money in the bank. Connor loves money in the bank. We love a profit.
I like spending money. I don't care about keeping it.
Right.
I like spending money.
But the reality is we want those heart-centered businesses, right? We want the people that are doing the job because they are the creator. They're the dreamer, the creator, the doer, the implementer, right? Even if you decide to get resources and delegate tasks like us or somebody else, you're still one of those people because you're heart-centered, right? So I'm launching this mastermind in February, and I'm looking for 5 businesses to start where I can actually take this blueprint and my compass and teach you how to grow your business to a level that's comfortable for you, but it's going to stretch you a little bit, right? Like that's just, I'm wired this way, right? If you are interested in details, let me know. I will actually be launching and announcing this in 2 weeks on Facebook. So again, 5 spots open. If you're in, or if you want to do a phone call or a video call, send me a private message. I'll be happy to chat with you, give you the details. I'm pretty awesome, guys. Like, I'm not going to lie. This guy's pretty awesome because he's going to be doing some data in the background for me. It'll be part of the Mastermind group package. But I'm ready to step in more. I'm ready to provide clarity. I'm ready to help people that maybe they just need a little bit of love and a little bit of guidance, but it's not one-on-one weekly coaching calls, right? Yeah. Like it's let's get in, let's hop, let's do a call, and then you're going to have some time to go in and implement, right? You're going to do some temperature checks, and it happens as a group. So with the group strategy, especially in marketing, you wind up learning and molding and adapting and finding different stuff that might trip your trigger. The other part, which is really cool with group, is you realize what is not yours and what you need to not do and execute, which is super cool. But if you're interested, private message me. If you're not interested, no big deal. I'm super excited you guys tuned in. I am super thankful for this guy. He always runs our technology and our videos. And the crazy thing about this guy is he does a shit ton of stuff in the background he never gets credit for. So if you loved this video, if you loved the actual video that the guy operates, be sure to like, love, or comment below and say Connor is amazing, right? He runs this all the time, guys, and he does not give himself enough credit because it is perfect and precise every single time, right?
Sometimes.
Cool. In the meantime, wishing you best luck. We've got a 2:00 prospect call for a really cool, passionate entrepreneur. So we're going to hop off of here. If you have questions, let us know. Loveline, I'll be in contact. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, guys.
See ya.
I got to find the button now because I haven't been paying attention.
That's because you got a compliment, isn't it? You got all love.
I'm completely lost.
Love bombed, and then you're like, oh no. See y'all later.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye now.